Everybody, and welcome to this week's Facebook Live. My name is Deborah Byrne from Deborah Byrne Psychology Services, known across social media as DBpsychology. So this morning I'm talking about tips to help you regain your focus. Of course, if we're stressed, anxious, fearful, we've a fear of failure, fear of success, any sort of fears around that. We can all too often become tired and very overwhelmed, particularly with stress and anxiety. It can overwhelm us, fears can overwhelm us. We can, constantly be reaching for the caffeine, the sugars, the carbs to try and just keep us going. And, we slip then into a very negative cycle all too often. And basically we end up like little hamsters on the wheel, running to catch up, constantly feeling like we're running to catch up. And that's all too often the case, particularly for busy mums in particular. So, we have to decide, okay, enough is enough. Time to stop the hamster wheel altogether, step off it, and decide for ourselves, okay, I'm miserable. I'm really miserable here. I need to stop this. And take a break from that negative cycle, because we'll get caught up in our own heads. And that'll make it even worse. And that's what I mean by the negative cycle. We're stressed, we're working, we seem like we're rushing to catch up. Then all the negative thoughts kick in, and you're adding to it, the perfectionism, the procrastination, all the distorted thinking slips in. We're reaching for sugary foods, maybe our coffee. Then that impacts our head and going, oh my God, I'm letting myself down here. I'm trying to maintain my weight or something, and I'm trying to, you get caught up in a negative cycle in your own head, and you're very, very, very busy. So how can we help that? Well, I've said it before. I talked last week, are you too busy to manage your stress? And two of the simplest strategies I did say last week was to, one, keep it simple and do a 3-minute meditation. Start doing that during the day, throughout the day if you can, and then attach it to something you already do, like breakfast or lunch and dinner. So you could do it just before any of those, or you could do it before you got out of bed in the morning, and last thing at night you did 3 minutes. So 3-minute breather. There is a free podcast on that on my website. Keep it simple. The other thing I suggested are the two major ones I always suggest is a sleep course. To do one of my sleep courses, there's one in my free group for mums. So if you're a busy mum and you're feeling very stressed, pop down, and there'll be a link in the description at the end of this video. Pop in there, join the group. There is a free course there for you to do. But of course, they can take a couple of weeks to kick in. You can start them today, but they're going to take a few weeks to do. So what can you do right now to actually, bring the focus back to stuff and to, break the negative cycle immediately? So my first suggestion to you is to start writing your to-do list. One, it frees up some space in your head. So if you're dumping it all out, getting it all down on paper, I've said this before, it does free up space. That's the first thing it does, is free up space. And secondly, by freeing up the space, it can actually allow you to bring the focus back to what you want to do, instead of getting lost in your own thoughts. So if we're very, very stressed, we're getting caught up in our head, we're constantly, boom, 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 mush machines going, 1,200 spins a minute. And, what do I do? Where do I start? How do I do anything? Like, where do I start with this task even? Project, you landed with a project. What do I do? Get a dump, brain dump, just get it all down. And then when you see it all down on paper, you can then pick the first 5-minute task, the smallest task off your list, the easiest, the one you think it's a no-brainer. Pick it and start doing that. Once you start doing that, basically what happens is you usually get your focus back again and your momentum back again, and you can start ticking off the things on your to-do list. The next thing you can do is actually get a planner. So, if you're like me, paper and pen girl, then you'll have your planner, a paper planner. You can use an online calendar. There's quite an awful lot of them. You could use a task scheduler, one of those. But get everything down, and that's the most important part, is to get everything down that you're doing. But the other thing I'd say to you is no task should be longer than 20 minutes. Then take a 5-minute break. If it's longer than 20 minutes, then break it down into 2 or 3 or 4 sections for over the course of 2 hours, say, and break it down like that, and just take a few minute break. Take a couple of minutes between, just to give yourself a break. What happens there is you'll be you dip into the task, you do it, and then you just dip out for 5 minutes, and it's like training yourself to run a marathon rather than a sprint. So if you keep pushing through your overwhelm, if you keep pushing through your stress, you're going to burn yourself out. So taking a small break, doing maybe the 3-minute breather, you're kind of calming yourself down, you're allowing the adrenaline levels to drop. You can dip back into the task then for another 20 minutes and then dip out. And then at the end of 2 hours then, over a 2 hour period, then you would have to take a longer break. That's when you would take a 15 to 30-minute break at that point. At the end of the day, of course, if you still have lots of things on your to-do list and you're not getting everything done, and I kind of hinted at it last week about sometimes our jobs change and they increase to such an extent that in fact it's now 1.5 person's job or 2 people's job really, that we have to think about, question, well, what's going on here? Get realistic about the actual time you're spending on the tasks and appointments and all your to-dos. Is there something distracting you? What's distracting you? Are you recording everything down? So if you've got stuff left at the end of the day, are you actually recording what you're doing and the amount of time it's taking you to do it? And this is where a planner will allow you to track that, to start tracking your time. How long am I spending on a particular task? Am I actually spending it on that task, or is there a whole load of other stuff distracting me, or little jobs, the 5-minute interruptions, the small distractions of somebody else coming, or the phone call, or something that's happening, or the emails, or something's popping up. If we're very busy, we tend to be busy, and we're probably not being realistic about the amount of time we're spending on one particular task, or all the distractions that are taking up our time throughout the day. They're robbing us of our time and our focus. And that's the main point here. They're robbing us of the focus. We really have to get practical here if you want to get focused. Make sure you're focusing on the right things. Are you leaving things to the last minute? That's another question you can ask yourself. When I get a project in or a task in that I have to do, a job in that I have to do, am I recording it as a start date, or am I a last minute person? Am I somebody who leaves everything to the last minute and then I'm rush? That's never a good thing if you want to have good focus on a project. You're better off recording the start date, not the finish date. So you start it as soon as possible, and that leaves you space then to finish a project or finish a task in plenty of time for the finish date. Always shorten the finish date. And you are, as I said, you're better off recording the start date. Going back to the tasks and the to-do list, is it really your task and your to-do list? Is it really supposed to be there? Is it a case I need to go and say to my boss, no, this job has expanded too much? And if you have timings, if you have all literally all the tasks that you have to do, you can then go to them and say, no, look, we need to hire somebody else. Or if you are the boss yourself, then you can say, okay, I need to hire somebody. I need to get realistic and practical here. I just cannot possibly do everything here now, no longer. The business has expanded, and hopefully it has, and you can ask for help. You can get help in, or maybe you can delete it. Is it serving your business? Is what you're doing really serving your business? Is it serving what you want to do as a goal? Is this goal viable any longer? Or was this something you had from years ago? Is it now time to let it go? Has it served its purpose and is it gone, basically? Can I delete it or delegate it? Can I ask for help? Again, you have to get practical. If you want to be focusing on the right things, then you have to get practical here. It's all too easy, to get caught up in that negative cycle. As I said, when we're very stressed, we can get caught up in that negative cycle. and in our head, and we end up, when we're in a negative cycle and negative thinking in our head, we're really thinking about the problem and not the solution. And I think that's very key here to focus, is you have to be focusing on the solution and not the problem. So we need to, as I said, take that break. And this is where allowing yourself to de-stress, having something like a 3-minute breather, having getting your sleep in line and things like that is going to help you there. But getting a planner in place and realizing where you're spending your time, actual time, and the correct amount of time, what you're spending it on each item on your to-do list, on each appointment, driving to appointments, making phone calls, emails, whatever it is, things to do with the kids, whatever it is, to actually record it and say, okay, no one person could actually do all this and complete that to-do list. No wonder I've got things left over at the end of the day. No wonder I'm stressed or anxious. So other ways that we can get focus would be to have reminders, of course, of our goals. What's the overall goal here? Creating vision boards is a really good thing. Getting an accountability buddy is very good as well. They don't have to be working on the same thing as you. They could be a mentor. I've talked about putting in a positive team of supporters there, that can give you tangible support, but they can also give you maybe informational support, social support, emotional support. People like that, an accountability buddy can give you all those things. Remove the distractions, so pop-ups, emails that are, pop-ups that have nothing to do with the business, that are constantly popping up on your phone or on your tablet or on your computer, social media pop-ups, get all those off. If you're trying to focus on something, you don't need those distractions. They will distract you, even for a second. Just by the fact that they're popping up in the corner of your screen, or the phone is constantly binging, you need to turn that off. You need to get rid of that if you want to be focused here. Clear off your desk. If you're sitting at a desk and it's a mess, the office is a mess, get it cleaned out. Even take 5 minutes every day for about a week, and set a timer. Just go right 5 minutes, that's all I'm doing, and clean up the mess, clean up the desk. Get a simple system in place, a basket system or something that you can have, in stuff I have to deal with, stuff that needs to be filed, stuff that, I've dealt with. Something simple. Keep it very simple, very practical, and stick to it, because there is nothing worse for time wasting if you cannot lay your hands on something as a business owner or as a parent, and you're trying to find a school report, or you're trying to find a list or something, and you cannot lay your hands on it because there's a stack of stuff on your desk or on the kitchen table that you still haven't dealt with. So get a simple system. Everything gets just chucked into one place, you can't find it. Get a simple system where, I've dealt with it, it's gone. Try and use the one touch method. Basically is, if something comes in, you touch it once, you deal with it, and then it's gone. Or you place it into a to-do basket, a basket with things that you want to do. Keep it, keep it organized. The other thing I said about taking that 5-minute break, doing a task for 20 minutes and no longer, and then getting up and moving around, doing a 3-minute breather. Try moving around. If you're very stressed, if your anxiety is high, if you've got fear, remember the stress hormones are going to be kicking in. So the fight, fright, or flight mode is kicked in. You've got an awful lot of adrenaline running around your body. You need to be getting rid of it. So getting up and moving during those 5 minutes, or at least once every hour, get up and move away from the desk if you can. Even if you are in a job where you aren't moving an awful lot and using up that energy, then, even standing up while you're working, if that's possible, and moving from side to side, anything at all to get the body moving. Because basically you've too much adrenaline running through your body. Getting that walk at night as well will help you there. Get a 10 or 15-minute walk. It'll help with expending that energy that has built up from the stress throughout the day, and that will then help you the next day. It'll help you sleep, get a better night's sleep, but also help you focus better the next day too. So as I said, try getting up and moving around, even your desk, if you work, if possible, get up and move while you're working. practice the basics of self-care. That takes a little bit longer. But I always say that, if you want to break the cycle of stress and anxiety and fear or depression or anything else to do with our mental health, remember, anything to do with our mental health is going to impact your physical health. So your basics of self-care is your way of saying this far, no further. It's setting a boundary and going, no, I have to take care of myself. I'm taking back control over my life, and I am now going to tackle that stress properly. So if that is the case for you, and you say, okay, I've had enough, something's got to give, and before my mental and physical health gives, I'm going to tackle it, then I have a 12-week stress reducing program that you can do. You can either do it a one-to-one with myself, or you can do a 12-week program, which I have. Now, I will leave a link in the description below where you can book a call with me, and I will leave it there for this week, and I hope you enjoyed the tips. So I will talk to you all again next week, and good morning, Deirdre, as always. How are you? I hope you're enjoying the weekend, and I will see you all again. There'll be a new blog on Monday as always, and I'll see you all again next week. So thank you.